up in a cast and set the hook on smallmouth bass, and then you'll understand. You gotta get your hands on a Shimano reel and a G-Loom is right. I bet you like what you feel. Step on the deck, give it a whirl. Hello, welcome to my world. What's going on, Facebook and YouTube Live? Coming at you with another episode of On Another Line Live. We're going to be talking about a lot of cool stuff this evening. Talking about some fishing trips I got coming up here in just a little bit. New product updates, new fishing trips updates. I've been out a few times. New boat updates. We got a lot of updates. We're going to talk about the pre-spawn into spawn transition period, which is where we're at right now in Ohio. Water temperature is about 55 roughly. In some areas, 58, 60 in some of the smaller ponds. So we're getting to that magic area where the big girls are going to be creating the beds and making it happen. So one of my favorite times to fish ever is definitely in the springtime. And as well, everybody else should understand that too, because that's when you're going to catch the biggest fish of your entire life. Derek Horner from Angler smoked a big one today. I don't know how big it was. It's probably 7-pounder. I would say it's a big one. He didn't have a scale. That's a bummer because I'm guessing it was at least 7 pounds. How's everybody doing out there tonight? Hope everybody is enjoying their beautiful Tuesday evening, 8:30. Absolutely glorious day here in Ohio. In the 80s, super nice. It's definitely going to warm that water up quickly if it stays this nice. Tonight's episode brought to you by Lure Lock. Get locked down. LureLock.com, where you can find all of your needs for your terminal tackle and your tackle storage needs. Definitely game changer when it comes to my boat, LureLock.com. For example, products I believe in, JB's Fish Sauce. Talked about new product updates. We talked about it last week a little bit, but we have a brand new product out on the market for JB's Fish Sauce. It is now available on their website. This is a pincho garlic JB's jelly. And again, as you guys know, pincho garlic is my signature blend of JB's Fish Sauce. They come out with a jelly, and again, a jelly it looks solid in here. It's not quite as solid. It's not as solid as a chapstick style. This is somewhere in between. I don't know. It's kind of like candle wax that you've left in a truck. It's not total. Obviously, it's not totally liquefied, but it does go on your baits fairly easy. We have a lot of things over. So this week, as far as my YouTube channel, those of you guys that are following me along there, you guys realize that I got my bow back, which again, I'm super thankful about that. I got a brand new lure unit put on it from Freedom Outdoors. Kevin Wells and the guys up there took care of me. But I got it back. Absolutely the filthiest it's ever been since I've owned it in the 4 years. So I spent some time on Friday of last week creating a video showing how I clean my boat up. One of my most popular YouTube videos on my channel is how to clean boat carpet. And that literally gets like 3,000 views a week, which is crazy. Just keeps racking things up. It's my best producing video ever, which I'm okay with. Matter of fact, if you search how to clean boat carpet on Google, my face is the first thing that pops up. So that's why I'm getting all those views. But anyway, so I've partnered with a company called Better Boat for the better part of 2 years now. 3 years. This will be the third year, and Better Boat and Better Part, no pun intended. But Better Boat has been kind enough to partner with the channel. They actually found me through that boat cleaning or the carpet cleaning video. And since then, we've struck up a partnership. And they have some new bundles out, so we worked out a deal. I have one, cleaned all my boat up with the kit that I have. Phenomenal products. The only thing that's lacking from their product lineup is a wheel cleaner. I've talked to Jonathan Spector, one of the guys who is big into the company. Matter of fact, today I sent him an email but they're working on he said it's a great idea, something they've never thought of. So they're going to be working on a wheel cleaner for guys that are, bass boat or trailering their boats. Most of the time, their clientele are like ocean boats and big giant yachts and things. So you don't really have to worry about trailer wheels. So that's something they've not really thought about. But that's one of the videos that came out last week. You saw that, I believe, on Saturday show up on my YouTube channel. I got a few likes and hits on there. And then on Monday, let's see. Actually, that video came out on Monday. On Saturday, there was a video showing you guys how to rig a Ned rig, which is one of my favorite finesse baits on the planet. I don't know where it came from, where it originated from, what it was meant to be. Guys, I'm not going to lie to you. It looks like a big old pile of goose poop to me. I don't know. It's 2.5 inches long, 2 3/4 inches long. I assume that it probably started somebody cutting down like Yamamoto Senkos or something and throwing them on a jig or something. But it does catch fish all the time. You can catch fish on that thing, daylight to dark, winter, spring, fall, summer, you name it, you can catch them. Smallmouth, absolutely love it. Up north, if you're not throwing a Ned rig, you're missing out. There are other baits up there, but you can almost guarantee that the smallmouth up north are going to eat something like that. So it's one of those deals where I would definitely recommend doing that. So if you haven't checked that video out, it's out there talking about how to rig a Ned rig, how to basically fish it. I showed you guys a clip of me catching about a 3.5 pound smallmouth at St. Clair. And it's a really good bait for me anyway, when it comes to catching fish when they're lethargic or they need finesse techniques. I would recommend throwing that stuff on light line. My absolute go-to for spinning rod setups, guys, is going to be some form of braid. I hardly ever on a spinning rod throw anything other than braid to a leader. Braid right now I'm throwing is Power Pro Super Slick V2. This is moonshine collar. Absolutely bright collar, man. When it's out in the sun, this stuff right here looks like it's glowing. And the cool thing about that is the moonshine collar does glow in black light. So if you're a crappie fisherman or you're out there fishing at night and you have black lights on your boat, you have that stuff on your spinning rod or any reel and it lights up, looks like a lightsaber, which is really cool. But I spool up, that's 15 pound. I was throwing 30-pound test braid. And people always say, why would you throw 30-pound test? And I think I've alluded to this before, but let's just look at this right here. So the diameter, I know you guys can't see this, but this is 15-pound Power Pro Super Slick V2. And the equivalent diameter of any other line for that is 4-pound test. So 15-pound test is the equivalent diameter of like about 4-pound mono or fluorocarbon. So you can get by using heavier weights. The only reason I threw 30-pound test is I like the diameter of it. It flowed really well out of my reel. I always use 3000 series reels, so I have a lot more space than most people that are running 2000 or 2500. So it gives me the opportunity to hold a little more line. But I've stepped down to 15-pound test, and I like it equally. So I run a braid off my spinning reel, and I always throw a fluorocarbon leader. And you guys know that I am a Sunline fanatic. I've used Sunline. I've told you guys the story before, but I was using Stren Fluorocast, which is it's almost like a copolymer, but it's a monofilament, or it's a fluorocarbon coated monofilament. And I liked it for a while. I loved it. Kyle and I fished it for years. It was like $9 a spool. So we were getting into it when we were, young and didn't have a lot of cash. So we started fishing that Fluorocast, and it still probably is a great line. I think I've told you guys the story before, but I actually got into a situation where I ordered a bunch of the line from my credit card points that I had accrued over the years. Turned out it was extremely old line and was breaking, and it was very, very, very brittle. But since that year, I've gone away from it. And again, I'm not knocking it. I used it for a lot of years, and it could be if you buy new Stren Fluorocast, it might be great. However, I started buying Sunline. Sunline FC Sniper is my absolute go-to line, especially when I'm talking about leaders on my spinning rods. I used to use 12-pound tests, stepped it down into a 10-pound test, FC Sniper, fluorocarbon. But I started talking to Gene Jensen, Fluke Master on YouTube. I'm sure you guys know who this is, but he was on my show, I guess it's been about a year ago or 8 months ago. He was on. We were having a conversation. I was telling him that, we were talking about spinning rigs and all that stuff. And he said that, yeah, for sure. He does the exact same thing I did. And I told him I run a 10 to 12 pound leader. And his advice to me was step that down to about an 8-pound leader or even smaller and see how, your percentage of bites, see how it changes. So what I did was immediately the next day I went up to the tackle box, picked up an 8-pound spool of Sunline FC Sniper and started tipping my braid with a leader. And it just depends on how long that leader is, guys. I start with a leader that's about 10 to 12 feet. And then, my line will break. And as I tie on and stuff, I don't let it ever get any less or any smaller than about 6 foot from my braid. I feel like that makes a huge difference, especially when you're talking about super, super clear water. But I start with a 10 to 12 pound or 10 to 12 foot leader tied on with a Unity knot or there's a lot of different knots that I use, but my go-to is a Uni. I never have a lot of problems out of it. It works really well. So I stepped down to that 8-pound test range, and I think I have noticed that I get bit more often than not when I'm using that. And I've done a comparison like at St. Clair and stuff where I'm actually just smashing fish, and I have a 10 or 12 pound leader and an 8-pound leader, and I absolutely feel like I'm getting bit more on the smaller line. It's just got to be the fact where it's super clear water and they can actually see it. So I have that, that leader there, and that's what I've been, running with my spinning rods, and it's something that I will not go back from. I absolutely will throw braid to a fluorocarbon leader on my spinning rods. You get so much more sensitivity. You're not going to get that stretch that you would get. Even fluorocarbon has a little bit of stretch to it. It doesn't have as much as monofilament, but it does have a little bit of stretch to it. So my advice, if you're going to get into the game of spinning rods or you're working with that Ned rig, is what I would do is I would, tie that thing on a spinning rod. You can get more, I feel like more action out of it. So braid to a fluorocarbon leader, 8-pound test, roughly. If you're fishing, guys, let's face it. If you have your drag set up right, you can catch an 8-pound fish on 2-pound test. I wouldn't recommend it. I wouldn't want to do that in a tournament situation, but you could probably do. Hey, Richard, I am not fishing tanners. I swore off the Buckeye BFL several years ago, not because I don't like the fisher. Like, I don't like fishing. I like fishing the BFLs. Don't get me wrong. But my biggest deal is that we started fishing the St. Clair BFLs, and it's a lot farther to drive. Sure, it's 5.5 hours to get to St. Clair and the Detroit River. But if I'm going to pay $100 as a co-angler, I'm going to fish somewhere where I know I'm going to have a chance to catch some absolute giants. I did see that they changed the schedule a little bit this year. I love the fact that they were going to Erie. They're also going to, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they were going up to Mosquito, which is a phenomenal fishery. But if I was going to fish tanners, I would definitely be fishing as a co-angler. I did see the other day, matter of fact, I think Sean Weeda from Weeda's Outdoors was actually looking for a link for that tanners tournament. So I don't know if anybody out there is on that train or needs a boater link. Speaking of tournaments and boater links and all that stuff, let me find the actual thing here and I'll share it with you guys. I was approached today from a fellow named Nathan Job, and he is, I assume, a troop leader, a Boy Scout troop leader, and he has a tournament coming up here on let's see, I think it's May 8th. Let me find out here, and I'll get this thing here for you. I'll show you guys the actual flyer if I can get a hold of it here. So let's go ahead and share this screen here. It's gonna be tough for you guys to see. I will read everything on here. So this is a second annual Troop 168 Bass Bash. The slogan is "Making Our Parks Beautiful," which I think is the Boy Scout motto. Saturday, May 8th, Little Sandy boat ramp, $100 per boat, $10 for big fish. So I assume that's $110 entry. $110, $100 for the boat entry. Team tournament, $10 for big fish. Let's see. It says due to the recent increase in the prices for annual dues, this is to help make sure no kid is left behind. So apparently, and this is way out of my wheelhouse because I don't know anything about it as far as what what it costs or what you have to pay to be a Boy Scout. But anyway, apparently you have to pay dues for that. I was not a Boy Scout, which is weird. Blast off 7 a.m. This is from the Little Sandy boat ramp on the Ohio River. Again, May 8th. So we got 2 weeks from now. Blast off 7 a.m. Weigh at 2 p.m. So it's 7 to 2. No dead fish will be weighed. 1 pound penalty for weight or late weigh in. Tiebreaker determined by biggest fish. First place $700 plus trophy. Second place $400. Third place $200. Pay that payout's based on 20 boats. If there are more than 20 boats, the purse will actually increase with the amount of boats that are there. And also, one thing that they forgot they were going to mention here is, let me find out the guy's name to make sure that the trophy is going to be made. Let's see. Trophy is going to be made by Travis Williams Wood Carving, and again, and the purse will go up if the boat's more than 20. Hey Cliff, what's up, buddy? If you want to go bass fishing, where would be the best place in the local area to catch numbers of fish? Grayson. This time of year to catch bigger fish, Grayson. If you want to go to a place where you feel like you have a decent amount idea to catch a 2.5 to 4 pound fish, Yatesville is a really good option. If I, this sounds weird, but if I'm just going to go grab my boat, and again, I live a stone's throw from it, but if I'm going to go grab my boat and try to catch fish, I'll dump it in the Ohio River. It's a tough fishery, but you can catch them. Rocky Fork is a phenomenal fishery. If you really want to go there and catch some fish, a really nice place there. Paint Creek, which is the sister lake of that. Both of those are up around Bainbridge, Ohio. Local to us, probably again, if you want to travel a little bit, Cumberland is fire this time of year. It's an awesome fishery. Cave Run is decent. You're not going to go down there and smash them. You might catch a few here and there. They're going to be fairly decent size. If I was going to pick one lake to fish right now, during this time of year, it would definitely be Grayson. And in the summertime, man, it gets frustrating at Grayson because the thing about it is you go to Grayson, and if you go out there after, I don't know, mid-May, May, June, definitely into July, I don't know where the big fish go. They apparently go and suspend in some of these deeper channels and things where most people don't fish 30, 40, even 50 foot if it's in there in Grayson. But I swear to you, I have never caught so many small fish in my entire life than I was at Grayson last summer. Throwing a wacky rig around, shaky head. Kyle and I caught 100 bass in one day, 50 apiece at Grayson Lake. But they were all, 8 to 10 inches. We never caught a single 15-inch keeper. But if you want to go catch fish, I would definitely. My favorite right now is Grayson. If you wanted to catch, Yatesville just gets beat up, man, and Grayson does too. But Yatesville just absolutely gets pounded. So there's tournaments pretty much every week on all that stuff. But if I wanted to go try to catch a fish right now, man, I'd probably put in Bruin Creek at Grayson and fish. Whatever you think looks good, you're going to catch fish. I went out there this past Sunday, the first time having my boat out, caught 9 dinks on a crankbait. Right now, you think about Grayson is right now. You throw a crankbait, you might catch, an 8-ouncer, or you might throw a crankbait and catch an 8-pounder. You never know. They're out there. Not a problem, buddy. So again, I did go out to Grayson. Started throwing a swim bait. There's a lot of shad activity on the water when I got there. First time out with my boat, dropped the thing in the water, started right up. I've never felt my boat ever, since I've owned it, go into gear and reverse as smooth as it does now. It's almost leery, it's almost eerie feeling how smooth and easy it goes in. But that's to deal with the new lure unit, brand new from BRP, brand spanking new. So super, super nice. Put her in gear, went to a spot, started throwing a swim bait because I seen a bunch of shad activity on top of the water. Threw it for about 15, 20 minutes, no avail. And I still think I could have got bit on the swim bait. I just didn't stick with it. I was looking for a pattern, trying to find ways to catch fish. And I was trying to find ways that I could actually, pattern fish to find out where they were actually located at or where they were staged up at. This time of year, they're going into, this is pre-spawn area, heading into spawn. My advice for you is to find steep banks located next to spawning grounds. So if you have big, small, big flats in your lakes or your areas, look for channel swing banks and things that have a really steep bank before you get into those spawning grounds, because a fish will stage there. And then the reason they do that is so they can ambush prey, and it's really easy for them to do that. Instead of exerting a lot of energy to catch fish, they can inflate or deflate their swim bladder, or swim vertically or down, vertically up or down to basically ambush fish. And they don't have to exert a lot of information or a lot of energy going left or right. They can just go up and down and catch the fish and eat, because right now they're storing energy because they know it's going to be a long time. They're going to be on the beds for a while. So they're trying to get all this energy they can, and they're going to eat a lot of food. Those steep banks allow the fish to, again, just by a little bit of effort, inflating or deflating their swim bladder, go up or down in the water column to catch fish. So I was looking at those banks, trying to find those things. I fished those banks for a while, tried to fish into those. I even went into the spawning flats, trying to find things. And then I started throwing a jig. So I caught one fish on a jig, 3/8 ounce green pumpkin with a net baits. I think it's a tiny Paca chunk trailer. Really good trailer, one of my favorites, actually. Was pitching it around with some pinch of garlic jelly. You guys will see it in the video. Set the hook on a fish, 8 to 12 inches, not a huge one, but it gave me an idea. So I locked that jig in my hand for a better part of 2 hours and never, ever, ever had a single sniff after that on that jig. So I was like, well, if they're not eating slow baits, let's try something a little faster. So I picked up my crankbait rod, which again, I have a brand new crankbait rod for this year for my arsenal. It is a G Loomis IMX Pro 866C CBR DF, which is deep flex. I have it paired with a 70 series Corrado, 12-pound Sunline FC crank. So I started throwing a Shad Rap. Summer or the springtime, that tighter wobbling action of that Shad Rap, they seem to absolutely love it a lot better than a really wide wobbling bait like a 1.5 or 3XD, 5XD, something like that. So I started throwing a Shad Rap, and within about the first 5 casts of the Shad Rap throwing it, I caught a really small largemouth, and then I caught a keeper spotted bass at Grayson, which was only 12 inches. Don't get me wrong, it wasn't giant. It wasn't even a keeper on most lakes. 12-inch spots are keepers in Kentucky, so I didn't keep it, obviously. I just measured it to be a keeper, chucked it back in, and then I locked that Shad Rap in my hand for a better part of the rest of the day. And I caught 7 more on that same Shad Rap. So could I have thrown the crankbait in those other spots and probably caught fish? Sure. Did I? No. Well, hindsight's 2020, but I did go out to Grayson and I caught 9 the other day. You guys will be seeing that video show up. I think it's scheduled for Thursday. You'll see it. First run on my boat. Super smooth, it was a good time. Went out, had some fun, and caught a couple fish. That was all good. Right now, guys, just to give you guys an idea of what's happening right now on my YouTube channel, I have absolutely smashed it's basically my all-time high impressions for 90 days. And impressions really don't mean much. They're kind of like wishing in one hand and crapping in the other and see which one fills up faster. But an impression means that one of my videos has passed by somebody's screen at some point, whether that be on Facebook, on YouTube, whatever. But I have almost 600,000 impressions on my videos over the last 90 days on YouTube. So that's a huge thing for me. That's a lot. That's passing by a lot of people's faces. Picking up about 70 subscribers a month. I need to boost that to about 120. I said 100 last time, but I'm losing ground. I'm losing space. I have right now a goal of 4,000 subscribers. Let me just log over here and find out where I'm at. Got a lot of content coming up. Kyle and I are headed back to Lake St. Clair here in just a little bit. We will be going back up there. I'm going up with my dad and Dusty Smith again in June. We're leaving Memorial Day, going up there fishing. I have a boat slip at Ken's Marine. We're gonna hopefully go up there and absolutely get on them. But I'm hoping to get back up there. Got a lot of content. My goal is at least 2 videos a week, hopefully 3 when I'm off. That's going to be a live video and 2 other videos, 1 tip video and a fishing video. Right now, I have, yeah, let me find it. 2,660 subscribers. Thank you guys very much. I am 1,340 away from my goal. I'm going to have to do a lot of stuff differently. But hey, guys, I set these goals really high just for the simple fact that if I reach those goals, that means I'm doing something special. So that's why that's okay. My goals again this year is to catch a fish in a state that I never caught a fish in, and I'm working on that. It's probably going to be in the fall when I do that. I'm going to be taking a trip down south for a little bit of a camping trip, trying to catch a fish in a different state. Another goal is 4,000 subscribers. Doesn't look like I'm going to get there, but I'm trying my best. Thanks, Richard. I appreciate it, man. Wouldn't happen without guys like you guys sharing my stuff. If you're talking about Lake St. Clair, dude, Lake St. Clair is an absolute bucket list lake. If it's not on your bucket list, it is now. Trust me. It is absolutely the most fun, hands down, you can have with your pants on. Go there. Don't go in the summer. Don't go July, August. I guess you could probably catch them in September. Go into May, let's just say mid-April to in third week in June, and I can give you some spots, man. They're all, community holes that I fish. I don't know any like hammer holes that are private there. It's just a big bowl. But I'm telling you, you can go there and catch them. Last week, 2 weekends ago, we were there. Not this past weekend before last, Kyle and I went up there, we didn't have a great day, man. To be honest with you, 2 days we caught 10 fish one day and 9 fish the other. I think we were just fishing too fast. Bradley Saunders and his buddy went up there fishing right next to us, dude. I could see his boat, and they were absolutely smashing them. They had 28 pound in their best 5 fish. Had a 6 pound, 4 ounce kicker. I don't care where you're at or where you're doing. That's where it goes. Yeah, man. So I'm going to start fishing the BFLs again. I don't know if it's going to be. So my plan this summer was to fish the Toyota Series as a co. And I had all my ducks in a row. Was going to pay all that crazy money to be a co-angler for the Toyota Series. My buddy Brandon Klein, who finished second the other day at the Del Hollow, we were going to link up, and I was going to fish it. So I wanted to step up my game. I wanted to fish against people in BFLs are amazing talent. I wanted to put my skills against people that think that they're the best of the best without going to the pros, and I feel like that's the Toyota Series. Spend a lot more money. I think it's like, shoot, man, it's a ton. It's over $1,000 for a boater. It's like $550 for a co-angler. So I had all my ducks in a row. I was going to pay this huge amount of money to fish those things. Was getting ready to sign up for them. Luckily, I did not, because most of those things, like, I don't know who designs these tournament series. I assume that those people that are creating these things, I always thought the Toyota Series and BFL were for weekend anglers, meaning that you could take a few days off here and there and go fish these tournaments. But there's 2 of these Toyota Series that are like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, or Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Like, I can't do that because I'm a high school teacher. They give me 3 months off in the summer. They kind of look down on when I try to take stuff off. But I'll be back to the BFLs. I have a lot of fun. Hey, Andrew, man, I appreciate it, buddy. Thanks for joining in. Andrew has been, he's local to me, been pushing my channel a lot. A lot of people like him I've met. Through my channel, and I appreciate it. But we have a lot more content coming up from OnAnotherLine on YouTube, and we have a lot of content coming. We're going to be doing a lot of stuff. I have a challenge coming up with Glenn Walker from Lure Lock. He and I are going to do a challenge between our 2 YouTube channels, and we're going to bet some Lure Lock boxes. And this is coming straight out of our pockets, nothing to do with a Lure Lock sponsorship. This is going to be something that I've created. I think it's going to be fun. I'm going to try to do the exact same thing with Gene Jensen, aka Fluke Master. I'm sure you guys know. He just, speaking of which, just broke 500,000 subscribers on YouTube. I know he's not watching out there, but Gene Jensen, guys, if you don't subscribe to Fluke Master, you need to go do that. The dude is an absolute hammer. He's a great fisherman, but even better teacher. If you're interested in learning how to fish, Gene Jensen's been doing YouTube since YouTube, before YouTube was cool. But we're creating this challenge series where he and I are going to be doing a week-long challenge and a week-long video series where we're going to challenge each other to catch the biggest fish and the most fish of a trip. So if I go out and I catch a 5-pounder on Monday, that's probably going to be my biggest fish of the week. If I go out on Wednesday and I catch 30 fish in one day, that's probably going to be my most fish, or maybe I catch them all on the same day. Who knows? But we're going to create a video series showing this, and you'll be able to see my perspective on my channel. I'm going to link his perspective in the comment or in the description of my video, and he's going to do the same. So if you want to keep along or keep track of those things, you'll see that. So hopefully what you'll see is myself, and you'll see you're going to see myself and Glenn Walker from Lure Lock first, and then myself and Gene Jensen. I'm going to try to, I haven't contacted him. I'm sure he'll be down, but it'll be good to get some camaraderie out there and try to fish. Hey, Randy. What line do I use? I use Sunline strictly when it comes to fluorocarbon. This is going to come to a shock it's going to come as a shock to a lot of people. I don't ever use monofilament. I just don't do it. I should probably. Let's see. So anything that I would use a monofilament for would be like top water, and I've switched to braid for that. You potentially could use mono or something on a crankbait, something like that. But I'm strictly a fluorocarbon guy. Sunline FC Sniper is my favorite when it comes to braid, without a doubt. So, this is Power Pro Super Slick V2. Doesn't matter what color you get. That's definitely it. Favorite technique? Oh, man, that's a tough one. I guess it's got to be a Texas rig, because that's what I throw more often than not. 3/16 ounce tungsten. Been using Eco Pro tungsten this year. Really liking it. The Sportsman's packs are awesome because you can buy it all in bulk, and it comes in one package, and you don't have to worry about paying that packing cost. Super nice quality there too. 3/16 ounce is my favorite. 4/0 Gamakatsu offset shank worm hook with a pegged weight. And if I'm going to throw something, it's going to be one of 3 baits. Number 1 is going to be a Zoom speed crawl in green pumpkin or green pumpkin purple. I think it's called green pumpkin candy. Then it's going to be a Jackal chunk crawl. I really like green pumpkin. I caught a 6-pounder on the exact same bait, a Jackal chunk crawl this spring in blue and black. Super nice, super great bait. And then the third bait that I would put on that Texas rig would be a Strike King KVD Perfect Plastics rodent. Collar would be California crawl. If you're talking about, so that would be my I guess non-power fishing technique. My favorite power fishing technique is going to be either throwing a popper. Really like to throw a popper, and I also like to throw a crankbait. No, Andrew, I don't, man. So I'm still in the market. We all know, the government helped us out with some cash there, and I had all of the, mentality of spending that, or, I guess you would say stimulating Johnson Outdoors or the Humminbird company. And I was looking at buying a 15-inch Helix. And I'm sorry, a Solix, 15-inch Solix. So I'm still in the market, but I haven't got it yet. Stay tuned for that. That is going to happen one way or the other. I got some tricks up my sleeve, some things I'm going to buy before then. So you'll have to stay tuned and see what that is. That'll be on my channel too. But I'm working on it. 15-inch Solix on the dash, and I think I was going to do a 12-inch on my on the bow. I think I can get by with a 10-inch and be just fine. I really like the idea of their new stuff they got coming out, the Mega 360 Live. I'm really interested in seeing what that looks like. I think it's going to be an extreme game changer for the Humminbird family. We all know that Garmin has Panoptics and they have Live Scope and all that stuff, and it has absolutely been a game changer for the fishing industry. And I think the Mega 360 Live is going to be awesome too. So if I were going to think about my dream setup, right now would probably be a 15-inch Solix on my console, linked to a 10 to 12-inch graph on my bow, running Mega 360 and Mega 360 Live. That would give you shallow water. It would also give you deep water and live action with fish that was swimming around and you try to find it. I think if we're talking about total boat network like Humminbird's got and Minn Kota, Ultrex, I was looking at the other day. I don't think that I can fit another 31 series boat or battery in my boat. It will be really, really tough. So I may be stuck with doing a 24 volt Ultrex, which is I think 80-pound thrust Ultrex, and then I would do the new Minn Kota Raptor shallow water anchors. That would be my absolute favorite. Like if I had unlimited funds and they said shop anything you want in our lineup, that's what it would be. 15-inch Solix. I feel like you could do a split screen and have two roughly 7.5-inch screens on both sides. That would be plenty big enough for me. If you look at KVD and all those guys, Kyle and I had a conversation about this last weekend when we were at St. Clair. Most of the pros use the Helix instead of the Solix. And I've had Glenn Walker on the show from Lure Lock, who is also sponsored by Humminbird. And I had Bill Carson from Johnson Outdoors, who is a Humminbird expert. The dude's a saltwater guy. And I asked him, why do they do that? And he said, well, it goes back to the situation of you can't teach an old dog new tricks. They don't like change. A lot of times they just get to something that really works and they stick with it. So that's why that's there. One of the selling points for the Solix instead of the Helix for me is that you have a lot of it's not unlimited, but you have a lot of time that you can go back in time on the timeline. So if you cruise over a spot and if you're using side imaging, you can actually do 200 feet, actually 100 feet. No, I'm lying to you. It's 200 feet outside of each side of your boat, 200 feet. So you got a path of 400 feet from one side of your boat to the other. So that's longer than a football field. And the cool thing about it is like you go over and you see a rock pile that's 150 feet to the right of your boat. You can press and hold on that rock pile on your screen and then set a waypoint, and it triangulates via GPS where that point would be 130 feet from your boat, which is a good thing. You can do that with the Helix series. However, you have to use the little D-pad that's going to take you around, and you have to get to it and hit mark, and it'll be fine. Once it goes past the edge of the screen on a Helix, it's gone. You never can get it back unless you cruise by it again. The Solix, however, you could go back into the timeline of things you passed, hold on it, pinpoint some waypoints, which is really good. So, that would be my dream deal if I was hooked up with Johnson Outdoors and we were running the Humminbird. I'm a huge fan of Humminbird products. I like them better than Garmin or, pretty much anything, Lowrance or whatever. Been debating on buying my first bass boat soon. Any recommendations? I only bass fish my kayak, which is fun, but it doesn't do it for me. So that's a very good question. And there's a lot of different branches we can go. Warranties on boats are huge. In my situation right now, if I was looking for a new boat, I don't know that I could afford a brand new one, but if I could, I would go that route. A lot of money. I don't care if you're talking about an 18-foot Nitro, it's still a ton of money. If you're talking about a 21-foot Camus, you're looking at Ranger prices. You're looking at $72,000+, or Ranger, they made the Icon series $110,000. Ton of cash. I guess my advice to you would be get something that's not, worn out, that you're going to be working on all the time. Again, I know it goes, I don't have a dog in the race because I don't own a new boat. I have a 2006 Stratus 201 Pro XL with a 2006 Evinrude E-Tech on it. And if you're just now joining in or don't know, it's been about a month and a half ago, about 6 weeks ago, Misty and I were out to Grayson, and I hit a rock with my E-Tech. Totally happens. It wasn't anything the motor's fault. It wasn't the lower unit's fault. I hit a rock under the water. Luckily, we weren't going any very fast, going about 20 mile an hour, just kind of really coming off plane and back dipped and hit a rock or a stump. I assume it was a rock, though, because it done a lot of damage. But the lower unit on my boat alone was, to get it replaced, was $6,350. Insurance covered it, or it would be yard art. I think I would search for a boat that fits your needs and you're happy with the way that it's rigged initially. My thoughts on that is this. For example, I bought I bought it in 2016. It's a 2006. It was 10 years old when I bought it. So I bought the boat. I like the motor. It's a 250 horsepower. Everything's good. Stainless steel prop. We're all good. Has a Fortrex on it, which I really like. But it has two 6-inch graphs on it. Well, okay. They work really well. They're 6-inch, 597s and 598 Humminbirds. They have downscan. They do what they 10, 14-year-old graphs now should do. Show you a really clear picture. Everything's good. It's just not big enough for what I want. So I think I would have, if I given the situation what I know now, I would look for a boat that might be a little more expensive and it would be rigged out the way I want it. There is no doubt I will own a boat with an Ultrex on it. Shallow water anchors like Raptors or Power Poles or Talons, in our area, I don't think you're going to use them that much. If I were going to look for a boat that was rigged the way I want it for this area, I would look for a boat that has an Ultrex on it, or have something that you can buy that you can upgrade to an Ultrex. Ultrex has spot lock, which is an absolute game changer if you fish in the river and things like that. You can pull up on a spot, hit spot lock, and you're going to stay within like 3 feet of that area, which is a huge deal. Catching a bunch of fish on a spot, you break your line. Normally, in my case, I don't have an Ultrex, so I just have to go back and retie. If nobody's here in the boat with me, I'm just going to float down the river or drift away from that spot, when in reality I can hit that spot lock and be locked down on that. So, I really like nitros. I love my Stratus, man. If you can find a decent old Stratus, I think it's a great buy. If I were going to look at new boats today, I would look at either a nitro or a Camus, depending on what you want to spend. But I would definitely recommend finding a boat that suits your style of fishing and is already rigged, that is in your price range. And that's a lot, but I'm telling you, you're going to be a lot happier if you find that. No, dude, I get it. 100%. I bought my boat used. So I've had my boat 4 years, bought it in 2016, 10-year-old boat. My boat had 100 hours on it, which is nothing for a boat. I paid $20,000 for my boat. I feel like now, hindsight, I got a steal of a deal on my boat. It's 10 years old, 250 horsepower, with 100 hours on it total. Dual axle trailer. That's another thing, man. I'll never buy a boat that doesn't have a dual axle trailer. A lot of different things you can do there is, if your trailer has dual axles, you have a blowout on the road and your flat doesn't run, or your flat, maybe your spare is flat. You could take a ratchet strap and ratchet that one axle up and just run on 3 wheels to get home. It's a little bit more to turn as far as like backing and getting in garages and things. It doesn't turn as pivot as easy. Dual axle trailer, definitely. I like swing away tongues. My boat has a swing away tongue on the trailer, or another deal. But again, I would look for a used boat. I guess find out a price that you're willing to spend. And keep in mind, most places will let you stretch out a boat loan, even used boats, for like 12, 15 years. I'm not encouraging that, because I think that's a bad financial decision. New boat, sure, you're paying $500 a month, so you're going to have to do that. But they will let you stretch this thing out. My bank, anyway, U.S. Bank, 12 to 15 years. I financed my boat for 12 years. I had zero intention of paying on my boat for 10 years. But what it did was it lowered my payment to like $198 a month. I'm like quadrupling that. I pay like $600 a month on my boat. I just about have it paid off. But what it did was it allowed me to have a situation where if I lost my job or whatever, I could scrounge, I could find enough change in my couch to pay for that thing. you can stretch it out. And again, if you get to a point where things are a little tough for a couple months, if you pay $400 or $500 a month, you're going to pay that, ahead on the premium. So there may be a couple months. Like my boat right now is like my next real payment is not due until like July of 2022. But because I'm paying all this money, but I would recommend using a bank that'll let you stretch that loan out to 12, 15 years and paying more than you can, whatever you can afford a month. That's how I do it. And again, if I ever get into a new boat, I don't know what it will be. I don't know that I'll ever be able to afford one, to be honest with you, but it is there. Let's see. I had a guy on my channel. Matter of fact, the latest comment is it's my I love comments on YouTube. It's just good stuff. Guy tells me that that I need to dump the my landing net, like stop using it. First off, no. Anyway, he's talking about boat flipping 8-pound smallmouth. Like, I have to see video. Like, I have to see it. That's just like, that's some major cojones. I won't boat flip a 5-pounder on 40-pound break. Like, if I have a 5-pounder online, it's going in a net if I can get it there. I also had another comment from JF Basson, which I really, really appreciated. And he says that TRD rigs or TRD worms from Z-Man do not float. That was weird. So I was under the impression that the bait would float, off of the bottom with the Ned head on the bottom. And he says, and I haven't tested it, so I'm sure he's probably right, but he says they actually don't float, which is crazy. Which makes the Jackal Yammy fish an equal contender because it doesn't float either. But I stopped using the Yammy fish because I thought I was at a disadvantage because they weren't floating. I'm going to go back and start throwing them again. All right, guys, we're about 47 minutes in. I have a lot of stuff going on. I have some grazing to do this evening going on. My job is getting close to the end for this year. I have about 4 weeks with seniors coming up here. So it's going to be pretty good. You guys are going to see some new content on my YouTube channel again coming up. You're going to see, again, there's a video coming up on Thursday that'll be released about my last excursion to Grayson. That was on Sunday. I'm going to go out and I'm going to start breaking down the Ohio River series again. Last year, I kind of got complacent with it. It was actually a really good deal. I was learning how to break down the Ohio River, catching some fish. I'm going back to that. Matter of fact, I think I may go out on Thursday and try to catch some fish. We'll just have to see. I'm going to do a breaking down the Ohio River series. Again, my goal is to have 4,000 subscribers by the end of the year. It's not looking good, but I'm still striving to get there. Anyway, so breaking down the Ohio River series, we're going to start where we left off. I'm going to be going downriver. I'm going to be trying to find some new fish in the spring, early summer here, trying to break it down in a different way than I was earlier. Last year was in the fall when we started doing that, so pretty good deal. And I got a lot of response for it. A lot of people liked it, so we're going to get back into that. Again, my goal is to have 3 videos a week, live video, a tip video, and a fishing video. Hopefully that is pretty good. Andrew says, yeah, man, the Ohio River is really hard to fish. I've been fishing a lot. I have a confidence that I can go out and catch some fish any day that I'm out there. Are they going to be big? No. But I feel I can catch 1 or 2 keepers a day, different spots. So I'm going to look at different ways to break them down. If you ever are on the Ohio River, on any pool ever on the Ohio River, I'm telling you, throw a white spinnerbait with willow leaf blades. My favorite is the one that Greg Drown makes at the tackle box. It calls it Goldie. It's actually a white and gold, skirt with it's gold willow leaf blades on it. Man, they absolutely smash it on the river. I throw a 1/2 ounce or 3/8, usually 3/8. On 10-pound test, medium action rod. Really good bait. Check that out. But I tell everybody this, you know, in the summertime, I'm always looking for people to go fishing. As long as you don't mind your mug being on my YouTube channel, by all means. Andrew6 on here. We're planning on going fishing for a while. I met a lot of cool people fishing doing that. So yeah, man, whatever days this summer, shoot me a message. We'll try to get together and go make that happen. Have boat will travel, and doesn't hurt that you have a really cool last name. But anyway, guys, we are 50 minutes in. I appreciate you guys sticking around for this episode of On Another Line Live. I'd appreciate if you'd share my content as you see it. The more you share it, the more people see me, and the more people see me, they may actually subscribe to my channel. So that is good, great, all things great there. So what we're going to do now, again, we're going to see a video coming Thursday talking about my last fishing trip to Grayson Lake. We will see you next time, guys. On Another Line Live next Tuesday, same bat time, same bat channel at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube and Facebook Live. Guys, if you can, get out there and lean on them. We'll see you next time on Another Line.